This is a Suboptimal podcast. Check out our suboptimal content at suboptimal.co.
All right. Welcome to episode number 34, question mark, of 2.5 Weebs.
Question mark is a good number.
Yeah, 34 question mark. This week we're going to be talking about Overlord, joined by Comfy and Copper as always. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Dear
Hi.
Hello, everybody. Dear God, there's like 125 shows on this anime fall list.
Oh my. Well, we'll get to that eventually. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
One second. I just want to point out, I opened a new tab and I'm suddenly signed in.
Oh
Oh.
my God.
Mixer's having issues today, guys.
I
So.
opened another tab to go to my dashboard and I'm no longer signed in.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, it
That's-
happens.
That's what happens.
Sometimes it be like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this week we covered the first 3 episodes of Overlord,
Yes.
which is like the most isekai to have ever isekai'd, and I.
It is. It's not the most isekai. This is the season of.
This is not the
Look.
most isekai.
Look, this new fall season stuff. One of the things we can talk about is the fact that remember how I predicted isekai was going to be the next big push.
I mean, it
I'm
already has
very
been.
much-
Is it not?
Oh no, we
Oh.
just started.
Oh, I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch any more isekais. I get
You
it.
have one more after this.
Fine.
The good news is that because we're now past the initial push for this stuff, it's stopped being all the copycat type shows where it's basically the same thing, and we're now into the weird, like, let's do an isekai but something different. Like the guy opens a pet shop instead of becoming a hero, that kind
Well,
of stuff.
that's the Dungeons and Dragons world. Let's be honest.
So
Yeah. No. Isekais are fun. They
Are
can be
they?
very weird.
They can be fun,
They-
I guess.
they can be fun when done right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, like all the shows that I watch have some weird gimmick to them that I enjoy. So like ReZero has that gimmick that I'm not going to talk about because we're going to watch that show eventually.
Yes.
Overlord, he just decides to take over the entire universe instead of living in it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna conquer the world to see if there's anybody else I know who's around.
Tanya
Yeah.
is like, Tanya is like she just becomes uber powered and is not trying to deal with the world, but is trying to have a fight with God, which is cool.
Mm.
Like, there's a lot
Sure.
of weird stuff like that. Like that's what I like. I don't like the
Like there's literally a new show where it's a professional wrestler is summoned to another world,
Is it the big
Um,
show? Is he playing Destiny?
and he's greeted by a princess. She basically tells him he needs to rid them of evil beasts and like save their kingdom. He's basically outraged by this, suplexes her, and then goes and opens a pet store.
That's amazing. I love it. That is
Okay.
That's the show. So,
Okay, well, in this one, in Overlord, you get to witness the absolute final guild meeting of like a giant, what is this, 12-year-old?
Lions old goal. Something like
12
that.
a 12-year-old MMO that was like uber fucking successful, and they are finally shutting the servers down for the final time. So it's essentially one of the guild leaders of this giant guild is having
He
a
found her,
final.
like the
Yeah.
head.
he's like
Yeah.
one of the last guys still playing the game. Everybody else has kind of drifted off, which happens with MMOs after
Yeah.
a really long time.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally talking about like people got married, they have lives
Yeah.
now, they have kids. Like
So they're not playing as much. He's still playing a lot, and he's like, "Well, let's all get together on the last day before they shut the servers down, just for old time's sakes, and catch up a little bit before we all finally go forever our separate ways." Which is a nice little gesture between friends.
Yeah, and then,
people you
like,
probably
one
spent
dude
like a
shows
decade
up.
with, right? And then like one guy drops in, says hi. Okay, I can't stay. I gotta go, and nobody else shows up, and he's just falls asleep while logged in online, which is also a thing people do.
So
And then-
he, well, it's this guy. He goes around and he talks about like how big the guild is. Well, no,
he talks
he does
about like,
talk
the
about-
history of the guild, and he's
yeah,
like, man, we played so long, we conquered all this stuff, we built an impenetrable fortress that like everybody on they were basically like the horde side because they were all Inhumans and stuff.
Right.
Versus they're like I'm just comparing it to WoW because it's the easiest way for people.
Right.
To
A lot of
understand
people
what it
will get that reference.
So there were like the Horde side Inhumans. He's a skeleton. Like the buddy that he was talking to was a slime monster.
Yeah.
Everybody that's a part of their guild and all of their AI that guard the guild are all Inhuman.
Yep.
And like that's the big thing. And they built this giant fortress that became this target for the Alliance side. It was like, hey, we want to take out that fortress because the strongest guild over there has it, and we want to be better than them.
From a game development standpoint, there's a couple of really interesting ideas in Overlord that I would like to see actually implemented. Like the fact you can build structures like that, like a guild house structure that is basically a dungeon for people who are not on your side's allies to raid, which is pretty cool. Being able to create your own AIs to fill it is also really interesting.
Also, the ability to write the AI as in depth as they did.
Yeah, to program the AIs within a game structure. They also can program items, which is neat. So like doing stuff like that through like questing and having those options to build stuff like that would be pretty cool to see developed in a game. As well as some non-standard character classes, like you can play a skeleton, you can play a slime. Like that would be interesting, like a slime monster class or race. Like, Anyways, we digress.
It's interesting.
He's taking his final goodbye tour and like, oh man, look at all these NPCs. Let's.
He's like looking at all the flags.
I love how some of them
emblem and stuff.
Like some of them are like named humorously, of course. Like the main butler's his first name is Sebas, and then his last name is Tien. So it's like it's Sebastian, but it's his full name. It's just like little references like that they have throughout the show, where references like, most of these NPCs were created by real people who are like, this is a dumb name.
This is funny.
Wait until you meet his NPC, because his NPC, his NPC is like, I made this when I was 14, and I am so I thought this was the coolest thing ever, and it is so cringy.
That's hilarious. It can't be any more cringy than the fact that he gets to like the guard lady. Or what's her name?
It's worse. Trust me.
It's worse.
This is the cringiest.
It cannot.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So anyway,
it's real cringy.
Legit, his NPC is so cringy. He locked it away in the bowels of the place where nobody can get to, and nobody else goes except him.
That's funny.
He also, like when they're like dealing with the NPC, he's talking about like, this is like, I wish I never made you. Like he's just sitting. He doesn't say this to the NPC. Because all of the NPCs look at him like he is a god king, so he has to act that way, which is nice. I really like that you get the internal dialogue from him.
His internal monologue. He's like, "Oh my god, I hate you. This is so bad. I wish I never made you."
So you're getting, I love that so much because you're getting all of his version of what's going on, but then you're also getting like, hey, by the way, you guys are doing pretty good, and like. I love especially the stuff with Demiurge, because Demiurge, who you constantly think is going to stab him in the back but doesn't, is like...
Spoilers.
Like, we need to... It's not really spoilers, trust me. He's like, I know exactly what you're thinking. You're going to try to take over the world. And he's like, I wasn't thinking that at all, but he thinks that I'm thinking it, so I'm just going to nod and agree. Yes! Would you like to explain it to everybody else in case they don't understand it? Oh, thank God. I don't understand what he wanted from me either.
But like
that internal dialogue is really funny to me.
So he does a little tour thing and then sits down and is looking over the NPCs and decides to reprogram one.
That was the worst fucking thing. It was so cringy.
She is my least
so cringy. The main character,
favorite character. I hate her. I hate her so much.
The reprogramming of the NPC is very cringy, and he reacts like this is even cringy to him. Like, why did I do this? This is so embarrassing. But eventually just, falls asleep, and then he wakes up. He's like, oh, I'm still logged in.
No. Weird. We can't skip over what made it cringy. So he's looking at no, we're not though. He
changed her code said that she's a massive bitch.
Yes.
And he changed the code to say from she's a massive bitch to she's in love with whatever. He gets rid of his name about 4 episodes in. So
yeah, he goes. he tells in the coding of the NPC, he's like,
Mamanga,
she is
his
in
name
love
is.
with what was his name?
Mamanga.
She's in love with him, and he's like, oh my god, I'm such a dork. And then he sits down in the chair, and then like server's about to shut off, and then like he wakes up and he fell asleep in the chair, and it's like,
It's flashing 0 because there is
What
a countdown
happened?
time,
yeah,
and he's
And
like,
then it,
"Oh,
ticks over.
yeah." And it ticks over. He's like, "Oh, I'm still logged in. That's strange." And he tries to log out and realizes, "I can't do that." And then he comes,
Very sword art. Where's
Yeah.
the GM? I can't log out.
Yeah. So he basically discovers he's stuck in this world, which has become basically real. The AIs are doing stuff on their own now. They're acting like actual people, and then they quickly discover that they're not in the end, like the MMO world anymore, like where he was. The whole
I
place
love
has
that.
been
I love it so much that they do that.
like transported somewhere else, and they have no idea where they're at. Like none of them do. So they set out to basically find out where they are and what's going on around them, as their main kind of goal thing.
This
Um,
show gives me a very similar vibe, like at this point, to like Log Horizon.
Yes.
Difference being in Log Horizon, they knew their surroundings and they knew the basics of the game, and they just needed to figure out how in depth it went and how to make it work.
Yeah.
He has no idea what happened because he's no longer in the game world.
Yes. And some things still work, like he can use magic and he can access like storage and stuff like that, but like actual direct command stuff, like logging out and things like that, or messaging people, don't work.
He tried to use a message spell, which exists in like Dungeons and Dragons as well. Like it's meant to message people over long distances. And he tried to reach out to a GM, but there was nobody on the receiving end of his call, which is kind of terrifying.
So they set out to kind of find out what's going on around them, and they discover that they're in this kind of plainy, hilly area, and there's a nearby village.
Mm-hmm.
Man, my chair reeks a lot.
Yeah.
Squeaky chair.
it's okay.
My
I know.
favorite part of the podcast.
So, and basically he's like, okay, need to gather info. Doesn't want to terrify people. And at the head of it, there's a confrontation in the village that he then takes part in. Something that should be noted is that when he first wakes up, he's very much still his human self in this inhuman body.
Mm-hmm.
But as things keep going along, he starts to become.
Wait, did we glance over how he made sure it was real? Because that was really cringy as well.
I don't know what you're
So
talking about.
remember
So,
the big-titted horn girl who was like, "Are we on Team Stream still? I should fix that."
You are definitely on Team Stream still.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Okay, there we go. Remember big-titted horned the demon
better, yeah.
lady, who is in love with him now? To make sure he was actually that this was actually real. He of course had to jiggle the boobs to make sure it was real. And of course, she is like way too like
She
way
is a
too
big
into
titted
it.
anime
She
girl.
is way too into it. Like it's one thing to be like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's nice, but then another thing to be like, she was like weak in the knees from it.
That's like she is my least favorite part of the show.
Yeah,
I've said it before. I don't like that kind of stuff. It really is off-putting to me.
it very much is. Yeah, I agree.
Just her being so overly into it is just kind of weird. It's a whole men writing women thing, and I don't like it. But yeah, no. So he definitely does try to jiggle her boobies.
Oh no, he succeeds, and I don't know. It's just it's way too much, and I feel like the show lost me there. And from that point on, I was just like, I'm over it. Like it was enough to just be the cringiest
I
bullshit
knew
to
the
be
show
like,
would
I'm
be
done. I'm done.
a rough start because of how it starts for Dale.
Yeah, like that's
this
enough
show
to
is
make me just be
because-
like, come on, I can't take this shit seriously anymore. When that happened, I'm just like, oh my god,
The
stop.
problem is that the
Here's-
show
please
gets
shoot
just
me.
so good.
That's
Here's the thing, though.
fine, but I don't
They-
care.
The thing is, they used this is one of those instances with, and there's a couple animes that are like this. They use that type of trope that Dale hates
As a hook
um,
to get you invested,
as a
and
hook.
then
to grab a larger audience of people and pull them in for the rest of the show. And here's the thing, it works. That's why they kind of do it. But
'Kay.
I can also see where it turns certain people off. Now,
Yeah.
if you can get past that part, like past like the first episode, 2 episodes, like and kind of ignore it for those 2 episodes, it goes away. It's not a thing
Sure.
that like it never comes up really again. Her behavior kind of still stays the same for a large part, where she's like super into him and wants to have his children.
But she's also like not a primary character most of
Character.
the time.
No.
She shows up less than other maids. Like,
Yeah.
and the maids are super secondary characters. So
And when she does show up again, it's things like she's rolling around on his bed, like trying to get the smell of him from his pillow and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's not something like sexual between the two of them or anything like that. So it's just her being like overly possessive girlfriend type mode.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
like this
something-
show despite
Oh.
that, not because of it.
Yeah, it's really easy to ignore this character once you're past like the first episode and a half, because she doesn't really have a huge part.
Yeah.
She was basically just a hook to draw a large audience in with her design, and
needs that big titty anime girl.
it's a thing. It works. Like I can't fault them for it because I know it works, but I also know it turns some people off. But it turns less people off than it draws in, which is why they keep using stuff like that. As annoying as it is.
Yeah.
fun.
You gotta take the
so
good with the bad though with a lot of shows.
yeah, so they
Yeah,
get
but
drawn
when
into
the
this.
bad is terrible, I'm just like, ugh. If they had introduced the lightning-haired kid in Demon Slayer in the first few episodes, I would have stopped.
They did.
Well, yeah, but
they
it was
did,
episode like
but-
4 or 5, so I was already like, okay.
And you also didn't get to see a lot of him. He was very ancillary when they first introduced him.
Yes. Oh yeah, you're right. He was in the like trial episode.
Mhm.
Was that the
Yep.
first 3?
Um,
No, the first 3
first
was
5 were,
the first
The
3.
first 3 got them to the trial. He wasn't in the first 3
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think he
he's in
might
like
have
the
shown
first
up.
5 to 6 episodes.
Yeah. And if he had
he's there, but
if he had
does
been
nothing.
that, like if he had been his like shrieky, shrill, whiny voice from like episode 2 or 3, I would have not continued watching that show at all.
Nezuko-chan.
Yep. Yeah, I
Was
would've-
that too much for you? Just me saying that?
as you
No,
can
no.
tell, Dale loves that.
That kid is the most annoying person. He might be worse than Armin.
To go back to
I say no because Armin actually has impact on the plot. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
But so
Alright,
wait,
to
how
go-
does that
to
make
go back
Armin
to-
worse? That makes the blonde kid worse because he doesn't do anything other than be annoying.
Yes,
That's
but
why he's-
Armin's annoying and affects the plot in negative ways.
Ah, okay.
yeah,
I
if it
get
was
ya.
a positive way, he'd be better. But
Yes,
negative.
if he like actually did something worthwhile, it'd be like, all right, yeah, I can see this. But it's just like, oh, look at me, I'm Armin, I'm the worst.
I'm supposed to be the smart one.
I don't like Armin.
No.
I do like Attack on Titan a lot. I think it's a great and very well done show made by the same people who make Vinland Saga. So
Gotcha. Wait.
Yes.
but I
Yeah, it
just-
is. Okay.
I just I
So-
don't. Every
To
show
go-
has characters you don't like. Weirdly enough, all of the maids in Overlord I love.
Okay.
Like, because I usually hate people that are like, "Oh man, look at my boobs and stuff," but they all actually have good, unique personalities. Sebas is amazing. Like,
To go back to point.
yeah, back to where we
Um,
were.
So they basically discover a village. They get involved a little bit with the village as a kind of gathering information thing. And conflict breaks out between the Royal Army and another group that they think is from one place, but is actually from somewhere else. And he kind of steps in to take care of things, and basically finds out that he's insanely overpowered in this new world.
Hey, I hate to interrupt anything, but I just found out that there was a plastic layer on top of my Go XLR, and I'm peeling it all the way off, and it's pretty hard.
Ooh, you should record that. Put it on the internets.
It's like, no, I can't because, I can't stream right now because I can't log in because Mixer.
Oh, man, yeah. See, I unlinked Mixer from OBS, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
I did too, but I can't get a new...
Try logging in, Comfy, because I just opened a page and it left me as signed in.
Oh, logged me in immediately.
Cool.
Oh, there we go.
So
it
looks like they fixed it.
Now.
They fixed stuff.
Anywho.
So he finds out he's overpowered, basically saves the village. That's mostly what happens in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, I love what ends up happening later on though with that. Like,
yes,
so because he doesn't want to get found out by the people in the village, so he creates an entire alternate personality. Then he ends up going to the city and signing up to be an adventurer. Like, so he's running himself as an adventurer, and he's running the entire antagonistic organization that everybody's like, oh my god, it's the end of the world. So he's playing both sides, and he's just having a good time.
That happens later on, Dale.
Yeah.
I was I was like,
literally
wait a
like in
minute.
the next episode, so I'm not
Hold
like
on.
spoiling super hard.
Yeah, he ends up having like 3 identities throughout the show, so that he runs at the same time.
Yeah, because he's the adventurer Momonga. He's the demon lord Einzolgon.
And he's also the mage as well.
Yeah. The mage doesn't really become a thing.
No. Not terribly much anyways. No.
Neat.
But yeah, aside from the thing that may turn you off like it did Dale, this is a good show. The writing is good. It's a very interesting isekai because he's basically an inhuman monster in a world where he knows nothing about. The game rules really don't apply for everything he's used to, and he's trying to figure out about the world. Then decides, screw it, I'll conquer the world. So if there's anybody else here like me, this way I can find them.
And so one of the big things to note is that his clan or his guild was one of the most well-known because they were like kind of super strong.
Yes.
So what ends up happening is he forgoes his own name and he goes by the name of the guild so that if anybody hears the name, they'll be like, somebody from that guild is alive.
They might, so they'd make the connection. Another interesting thing with this particular one is that because he is now a skeleton monster, he starts losing his humanity little bit by little bit. As he goes, as the story goes further along through the seasons, he becomes more and more inhuman, which is interesting. He starts taking on more traits of the creature he's become. So, while still having flashes of his original personality and stuff like that. So it's an interesting journey, and it's for the most part, aside from the sheep, which is a phrase you'll understand if you watch this thing all the way through.
That's okay. I won't understand.
It is very well animated.
The sheep.
Yes, the sheep. Aside from the sheep.
Nice.
But yeah, I'd say this is definitely a recommend for me. I know it's not from Dale.
No, of course not. He couldn't watch it. This is as someone who's watched through the whole thing, it's a recommend from me. I'm waiting on season 4 right now.
Yes, I can't wait for the next season.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the shit that happens with some shit, it's just enough to make it. I can't take that shit seriously anymore. Like it's just like
Shit can't take shit.
Yeah. I'm just over it.
That's
like
why I'm holding back on.
Like, I
Queen's
didn't
Blade.
hate the stuff
Just for that
after
one
that,
time,
but
just
but I like for my feeling on it was just unrevocably just like cringe. So, yeah,
Yeah.
good job adding in dumb bullshit to coax people into watching your show. It might work for like some people, but other people just are like,
it
I
works
can't.
for a good like 80% of the population. That's the problem.
Well,
who
I'm
watch
like a
shows
unicorn.
like this.
So
I don't. It does not work for me, and
No.
it doesn't work for Dale.
No, it works
I
for a
have a-
certain.
I have a better
subsection.
tolerance for it, but it is not something that I watch it and I'm like, oh, big fucking boobs, let's go.
Yeah.
Hit me with.
do people not
it's-
realize porn exists? I don't understand. I feel like we keep having this
No.
conversation.
Here's the
Anyway,
thing, Dale.
If you're looking for porn, then it's like, oh
Yeah,
man,
okay.
boobs. It's like not as interesting. But then when you're watching anime and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah,
they're gonna
it's-
show cartoon boobies.
Look,
Oh yes.
it's the same way where network television,
Man.
when they're casting for roles, they cast attractive people and they cast women who, generally speaking, depending on the role, tend to be well endowed. It's to
I-
draw a certain type of viewer in,
I don't
and
like
it
watching,
works.
I don't like watching TV shows where the women have bigger dicks than me.
So
Okay. Well then.
no, he just prefers watching the porn like that.
Yeah. Wait a
so-
second.
Okay
so
then.
aside from that, the other thing we watched was episode 13 of Vinland Saga,
Yes.
and
Nothing.
We
What?
got plot.
so
Yeah. We got a
so
lot
two
of plot.
things to note here. One, this is definitely going to be a 24 episode show at least. The easy way to tell this is because they've switched up the opening, which is
Also,
something
we do
animes.
24 episodes.
Well, that too. But
Also, you're totally
that
right, Copper.
alone-
The new intro sucks.
that's
Not
the other
good.
thing. Let's talk about.
Made
It was
sad.
so
the
good
new
before.
the new intro for Vinland Saga is so fucking bad.
Well,
Oh my god.
I feel like
gave it a full try. I gave it a full try. I was like, you know what? Let's see if it gets good. It's
It
not
doesn't.
in there. It's
I
not.
watched it. I went back and watched it again right away and went, "Yep, this is fucking awful."
like, see, I
it's-
actually used to watch
the animation
old
on it.
one.
Like the old the old opening is more exciting, is more interesting. The title card is better done than this one. The music is way better, and
Yeah.
this one's just worse all around. It's not as visually interesting. The title card for how they do Vinland Saga is worse. I don't know why they would switch it. And the song is different, which happens with animes that are like this. They usually switch halfway through for a new start for the second half. That's
You know-
common. But usually they don't go to worse music.
I was really disappointed that Demon Slayer didn't get a second intro, but the first intro was banging enough that I'll allow it, considering what we ended up with for Vinland Saga.
For
Banging
this, yeah.
enough. I can't believe
Like,
you
it
just
was-
said that. I can't believe you just said
That
banging
OG
enough.
intro was
great.
so good.
Like Vinland was so good, I didn't
was.
actually expect them to change it. Like,
I
that's
actually
how good
liked
it
it.
was.
Yeah.
Because usually when they're this good, they don't switch them.
Maybe they'll
But
maybe
they
they'll
did
change it
here, and
back.
I don't get it. They won't. That's the problem.
Bummer.
We're stuck with this one for at least 12 episodes.
I am going to let everybody know right now, shamelessly, I will be skipping the intros.
I mean, don't you always talk about how you usually skip intros anyway because like spoilers in the
I
intros?
usually, yeah, no, absolutely. Vinland Saga has done a very good job of not spoiling things.
Yes.
And it also has such really good music that I watched the intro every single time
I did
for
too.
the first 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Right? It's so
Same.
good. Also, man, I'm on T-rated and Channel 1 is here.
Oh, well, at least we are on
Well, at
this
least
part
we're
of the
on Vinland
podcast.
Saga. Yeah.
Oh
No, so-
man.
This episode didn't have a whole lot of things going on, but it had a lot of politics.
It did have a lot of politics.
And if you know me, I actually really like politics.
So-
not real world ones, but fake world ones I love.
Yeah, so it didn't push like a lot of action this way, and they didn't even go very far. But
No,
it pushed the story and filled in some blanks on stuff that is very interesting.
Yes, such as the entire army that Askeladd's leading fucking hates the Danish and is planning to just destroy them. So that's cool. I'm excited about that.
Well, the he Askeladd himself is, it turns out, is only part Danish.
He is
He's
half Welsh.
He's half Welsh, half Danish. He's actually a descendant of
Artorias,
Artorias.
the basis for the legend of King Arthur.
Yep.
Which is
And
the moment I heard that, I was like, that's King Arthur, right?
yes.
He's
and it looks like
also from Dark Souls. And a great,
well, that's
great
because
name Sif.
that's just because they pull names from stuff.
There's only one FromSoft game I've ever finished. I'm gonna keep it that way until they release Sekiro 2.
Oh,
So
do you
yeah,
not
so
like
it looks
Dark
like
Souls?
he
Okay.
was raised in with the Danish. His mother was taken as a slave and used as a concubine by some Danish guy. It doesn't really give a name for his dad. When his mother was older, she got sick, was then kept in the stables as a slave. When she was dying, she didn't want to die, as a slave. So she basically asked her son, who was being raised as a full Danish warrior, to take her home. So he basically does. He takes her home, and is intercepted by the Welsh when he lands. And they discover that that's basically the princess person that they lost in a Danish raid years and like decades ago. So they're like, oh my god, she's dying. They're like, oh crap, and they find out that that's her kid, and they're like, okay. And it looks like they basically take Askeladd and train him because, as I've noted previously, the bastard is wearing a cuirass, which is something nobody else wears around him, the breastplate, and uses a sword that is basically a gladius, which is not Danish in any way, shape, or form. It also turns out that Askeladd fucking hates the Danish, including his own men.
But what about a cheese Danish? Is that okay?
I actually don't like cheese Danishes.
Oh, get out of here. Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, I'm lactose intolerant.
Okay.
So
all right.
they find it out. They also find out from the prince that basically due to some ridicule from our favorite orphan, that the prince, who is a very bashful person and very, very, it seemed fearful, claims he isn't, basically loses his temper and starts yelling that he's not a coward. He's just super careful because where he grew up and because of his position, anything he says carries weight. So,
which is 100% true and an absolute reason for him to keep his mouth shut, and is way smarter than I expected it to be. However, this is also the first time the prince has spoken, and it's only because of outrage at Thorfinn the Orphan. So
yes, yeah. Even Ragnar is super surprised that he's talking to another person that's not him, because he never does that. Basically, the prince grew up in, the castle, the royal family, where his other siblings routinely kind of killed one another, and shit like that. So to survive that, he basically made himself non-existent to them. Like, he wouldn't talk about things, he wouldn't side with one group or another. He'd basically just be a wallflower and quiet and out of the way, and they would leave him alone, which worked. So he got to survive. But it made him super careful with everything. So he wouldn't agree to the non-aggression pact, because he basically comes out and says, I can't agree to that without my father's blessing, because it's not enforceable at that point. Anything I do
it's a smart way to deal with it.
And it's also true. Any agreement he makes like that, because of the way their kingdom is set up, is null and void regardless unless the king agrees to it.
And that was Aslab was also saying, like, he's gonna try to, like, put that kid on top of the throne so it all works out, right?
Yes. So Aslad's plan to protect whales, because that's what all Askeladd is out for, is protecting whales, is to gain a prominent position within the Danish hierarchy, and by putting that kid on the throne as the successor to his father, so that when he does so, he can have the prince enforce the non-aggression pact with Wales, so that the Danish will stop raiding them and never raid them again.
Yep.
And that's all he
Mhm.
wants. Period. He doesn't give a
Which
shit
is-
about England. He doesn't give a shit about the Danish. He doesn't give a shit about his pirates. Nothing. Like,
he
Pirate.
yeah, he gives a shit about his world being normal. And that's it.
and they talk about, it's brought up that his men really trust him, because basically to get across one of the kingdoms in Wales, he has all of his men give up their weapons, which is something normally a Danish warrior wouldn't do, but they do without hesitation for Askeladd when he asks them. And they're like, wow, I'm surprised that worked. And he's like, yeah, my men actually trust me. They're like, well, what about him? And they're talking about Thorfinn because he refuses. He's like, well, I'm not one of his men. I'm an enemy. And they're like, what? Because they're confused.
They're just like trying to figure out exactly how this
How this
like
works.
dynamic works, because he's just telling him, like, I'm here solely to kill this man. And it's like, wait, and you're taking him with you? Yeah, why not? He's a good soldier, listens to orders, does his job.
Like, by this point, Thorfinn has been appointed a bodyguard to the prince, and it just admitted to the prince that he's not an ally of the prince's or of Askeladd's who's trying to protect him. He's literally an enemy of Askeladd, and his sole purpose in life is to kill him. So then they're like, what? And they're kind of confused.
Yeah, which is funny because that's their entire dynamic, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, when they explain it to anybody else, it makes no sense whatsoever why Thorfinn is with them. Does basically what he's told to make Askeladd fight him in, a duel.
Because he has this extreme pride, which is not something to scoff at. I think it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
it's
has
not
this
even
pride,
like,
he won't stab him in the back. He won't kill him while he's asleep.
Yep.
But he 100% will take him out when given the absolute opportunity.
yes, when he's able to in a fair fight, and it has to be a fair fight for him. It's weird. But yeah, we have the revelations from the prince. We have the revelations about Askeladd and his history. They do manage to cross the other Welsh kingdom where they'd had the confrontation before with no repercussions there. And that's pretty much it, really. Like, as we said, not a ton physically happens in the show. There's no big battles. They only go from basically point A to point B across this country. And we have some big revelations about Askeladd's history, his stance on the Danish, his actual plan, and the actual a little history of the prince about why he acts the way he does, because of his own family history being so screwed up.
Man, we got an entire episode of just politics and plot, and it wasn't what we wanted, but goddamn, it was what we needed.
And it's still good. Like, it was still a really interesting episode.
Yeah,
the way the show, yeah. The only thing for me is that the way it opened, because we had a new opening, it went straight into a flashback from Askeladd right after that, and I was like, "Fuck, did I miss an episode here?" So I actually had to go back and look at episode 12. I'm like, "No, I watched this." Went back to 13.
Weird, I didn't know who it was when it did.
Yeah, there was no
context.
There's no context at all. It was just a blonde guy. I'm like, well, that's not Thorfinn.
It's not Thorfinn. I was thinking, I was like, is that like?
But because there was that new opening, and then the new opening was different animation wise to the point, I was like, oh, they didn't change their animators, did they? Is this what they're going to look like now? I was just making sure. I'm like, okay, no, it's a flashback. Thank fuck.
Yeah.
Because it's
I like Thorfinn how he is. He does not look that pretty, which is kind of what we need.
Yes, I like the fact that we only have one really pretty character, which is the prince, and it's actually
he's gorgeous.
And it's actually remarked upon by everybody else that he is much too pretty to be, a warrior. They're like,
Thorfinn's like, hey, dude, you're hella cute. What are you doing here?
Yeah, Thorfinn basically refers to him as princess. He does not call him prince or anything like that. He calls him a princess.
That was like how he pissed him off, right? Like he just
That's part of how he pisses him off. He just keeps calling him a woman over and over again, princess.
I mean,
And it pisses him off because the guy's like, no, I'm a guy. I'm a warrior, goddammit. And I'm a prince. Like, you can't talk to me this way.
are you a warrior? He asks. Oh, we need.
I has yeah, we haven't seen the prince fight anybody yet, have we?
No, we haven't seen him do anything of value yet.
No, the prince has done nothing of value, but it also, we now have a reason for the prince not doing things of value. Because basically he's, afraid of doing something where it's going to bring negative repercussions to him
Which makes a lot of sense.
based on saying something that's not then enforceable and he gets the blame for it, or saying something and angering his father, or angering one of the groups within the Danes that he then has to deal with, which he doesn't want to do. So yeah,
hey,
it's
can I read 2 pop-ups on my screen really quick?
sure.
I'm gonna read them not in the order that they showed up. Incomplete match. Oops, you left a Gambit match before it was complete. Reading Gambit match negatively impacts your experience. Now let me read the next one. Return to orbit. You have been returned to orbit. Error code guitar. Got Fortnited. I'm mad. Continue.
Yeah, so that's basically our episode here.
Yeah, so I mean, that was pretty much it.
It's as Comfy says, it's a political episode, but it's still very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, interesting to me. I love that stuff.
It's just this episode brought the first time we can actually complain about something they've done in the show design-wise and choice-wise, which is the new opening of the show, and it's a big oof.
And you know what the best part is? We can skip that minute and 30 seconds every episode.
It is. That's the best part, is the fact that even though that part is now awful, we can just go boop and skip it, and it doesn't matter whatsoever.
Yep.
Which is great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it continues to be, I super recommend. It continues to probably be the best show of last season. It's probably going to be one of the better shows of this season, which is saying a lot because the new fall anime has started, and there's some big shows that are returning.
Yeah. No, it is. Speaking of big shows that are returning, do we want to segue into that stuff?
We can. So, for those curious, the big shows returning we're talking about, aside now for Vinland Saga, there's a new Sword Art Online. There is the new season of Boku no Hero. Shogeki no Soma, so Food Wars is back as well.
Food Wars, My Hero Academia, and Sword Art are all coming back for their 4th seasons at the same time.
Yes. In addition,
those are all shows I will be watching week to week, except maybe Sword Art, just because I'm not caught up.
In addition to that, there is a new Fate Grand Order show that is out.
It's a Fate Grand Order show.
Yes.
I'm very interested in that. So, do you know what the difference between like Fate and Fate Grand Order is?
No, I don't usually care.
You don't care, so I'm just gonna not deal with it. It's interesting to me. I love it.
There's surprisingly the 2nd season of We Never Learn, which is a really kind of cute, light comedy from last season, already has its 2nd season out, which is very surprising.
Which show?
We Never Learn.
Okay.
Basically, it's a tutor who is blackmailed, basically, by his school into teaching these people who are very intelligent in certain subjects, other subjects that they're very bad in because they want to pursue careers in those subjects for personal reasons. And what they're holding over his head is a recommendation to a university which would give him a scholarship because he can't afford to go to university because his family is completely dirt poor.
Yes.
So the 1st season ended with the last season of anime, and I was like, oh, this is great. It's well received. It's well done. it'll probably get a second season in a year, right? Because that's usually what you wait for with stuff like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm surprised that Fairy Gone got a season as quickly as it did. I'm even more surprised
Yep.
that Shield Hero is getting 2 seasons that quickly.
Yeah, Shield Hero's getting one. That got another
2.
season.
They have confirmed 2 seasons for Shield Hero.
Strike the Blood is out again as well.
Oh, it is? I need to watch the second season of that.
Strike the Blood 3 is out now.
Yeah, I haven't watched. That's what I'm saying. I haven't watched the second season yet.
Yeah, and they're going into season 3, and season 2 just came out last season.
Was it? I thought it was before that.
I think it was last one. We have 2 One Punch Man specials coming out as well.
Nice.
Really? What is
Need to
a?
catch
What do you
up on
mean a
One Punch.
special? Is it like a
OVAs,
short movie?
original video animations.
Yeah.
Basically, canon but not canon. It's stuff that'll happen, but stuff that won't really affect the main story.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's they're going to be little stories about Saitama and his probably
Genos.
day-to-day life and doing stuff like that. That's what the last ones were about.
So it's like
Probably the same
Saitama
thing
and
here.
Genos go to the ramen shop and fight a worm monster.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Kind of like that.
you say that, and like one of the ones which was actually like one of my favorites was like it's Saitama going about his day-to-day life, and he's like doing certain things, and like Genos is just following him around like a crazy stalker, trying to figure out like how he lives his life. And Saitama goes and gets like a burger and fries, and he's saving all the long ones for the end because they're the best. And he like goes to the bathroom, and Genos is like, he's not eating these ones. He must hate them. I'll eat them for him, and eats all the long fries and then runs away. It's a good time. It's stupid stuff like that, like stuff that wouldn't be in the anime, but like the characters would actually do.
That
You know?
sounds hilarious.
You've
Wait,
got
why does
the-
Genos? Genos has eaten food before too. Does he? Okay, he's a cyborg. He must still
we've got
have
the
a
second
stomach.
season. I guess we never. Really
I mean, we've
find out-
literally seen him,
He's a cyborg. He's half human.
but like
There-
we've
he still
literally
has-
seen him, like mostly robot bones. There's no internals.
He might
So,
be
I don't
mostly
know.
a brain, but it's hard to say.
We don't know. Like that's
Yeah.
that's the dumbest answer, but it's also the most accurate one.
Yeah,
is we
sure.
don't.
Yeah. Looks like we've got 3 Psychopaths movies coming out.
Oh my gosh, I love Psychopaths. I need to watch the
You're a
the
psychopath.
second season-
second one.
Second season of Radiant, second season of Grand Blue Fantasy. Like there's a ton of second season stuff that's coming out this.
I know
like,
Dr. Stone is continuing this season, and people are really excited about that.
Yep, Dr. Stone is continuing. There's like just a ton of second season stuff. Like as I said, there's between new shows, second seasons, and the movie releases that are coming out like September, October. There's 135 looks like new things coming out just between the end of September and the start of October.
Yeah.
So there's a
lot going on.
ton of stuff to go through going on anime wise. So if you're looking for anime, there's a ton of stuff coming out. Like there's a Zoid show. Like they're still making those. Like that's weird. There's a bunch of stuff that it ranges from like kids stuff to younger people, teen, and then shows that are purely aimed at like more adult tastes for sure. High Score Girl 2, so that's getting another season right away, which is cool.
Mhm.
But there are some interesting things. It looks like the Fighter show has 24 episodes as well.
Fire Force.
Yep.
People like that one a lot. Hey,
Neat.
all right. Does that like pretty much cover our anime stuff?
There's some ones in here I'm definitely gonna push to watch. Like there's the one I mentioned before where it's the wrestler who's summoned to another world type
Yes.
thing, and he's like, screw this, I'm opening a pet store.
Yes.
That is, of interest. There is a show here, let me find it, to harass Dale with.
Ooh, that's always fun.
It is.
I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I torture myself every week.
Me
I
and
really
Copper
don't.
have a great time.
That's good
Every
for
week.
you. Good for you.
Oh yeah, Psychopaths 3, the actual like show aside from the movies, is coming out too. Near Comfy.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. Psychopaths 2 was such a departure from the original.
Hmm.
Did you watch both of them?
I have not watched the second one yet. No.
So the second one was all new characters, and it was kind of the same plot, but like told a little differently.
Hmm.
It it felt like they finished the first one super well, and then they wanted to tell more stories, but they didn't know where to go.
Yeah, that's always
And it
a
was like
problem.
there were new issues, and there was new tech that was blocking their scanners and stuff, and there was new like reasons for people to be psychotic, but it wasn't like it didn't capture the same feelings that the first one did, you know?
Oh, here we go. So, the show I came across,
Mm-hmm.
I want to, watch to see if it's going to be one of the things that harasses Dale,
Of course.
is Kandawaga Jet Girls.
I'm interested.
So, jet racing has become a mega popular extreme sport across the world, and with good reason. The jetter pilots a high velocity watercraft and is paired with a shooter who blasts rival teams with a hydro gun. It all adds up to explosive, wet, and wild action as they race to the finish and compete to earn supremacy. Among those competing is Rin, and racing is in her blood. Rin aspires to become a legendary jetter just like her mother, and after meeting the cool and gorgeous shooter Misa, it looks like Rin's dreams are finally within reach with a partner who shares her passion. Every race brings them tighter together as a team and closer than ever to the dream of becoming the best jet racers on the water. So it is 100% going to be girls in like probably very tight clothing because they're racing water skis.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, they shoot each other with water blasters and stuff like that.
Sounds like a sport I'd want to do in real life.
Sounds
And
sounds like it'd be a good time, I guess.
Sounds like it could be painful.
So like
yeah, definitely seems like something that
we
will
were
be
talking about covering a
Dale.
couple like horror themed shows.
Yes,
We were.
it is
For
October,
Halloween.
and so we should definitely look at something that is spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Like Ghost Stories, the anime.
or like the second season of Fairy Gone, because it's going to be spookily bad.
I wouldn't have made
the
that
second
joke.
season of
Stop.
Fairy Gone won't be ready in time.
I know. They are currently farther along than I would wish to know, really. They started on October 7th, so they're on like episode
It'll be episode 2,
so yeah.
probably.
So they will be 3 before the end of the month. But we were sent a list of scary animes by a friend of ours.
Oh, no.
So some of these I have actually seen before. And one of them is actually one I recommended before.
Ooh, which one?
Which is Another.
Yes, that was one you recommended.
So Another focuses on hospitalized high school student who runs across a mysterious eye patch girl named May in the hospital elevator. When he transfers into school with her, he discovers that none of the other students can see her. So the show starts off a little slow, is what everybody says, but it has a very high intensity climax with some good twists along the way. So it is supposed to be one of the better horror animes made as well. So that is definitely my recommendation from the list we were given by our buddy Drake.
Okay. What other ones did you look at that you was on that list that you might want to do?
Let's see here.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't find time and then kind of forgot to look through that. So that's my bad.
So there is another one. So one of the ones I've seen is called Actually I Am. That's the English name. It's a Monster Girl romantic comedy movie or show, rather, where the main character is a guy who basically cannot tell a lie to save his life. discovers that one of his classmates is actually a vampire, and then the show basically revolves around the fact that he's trying to keep her secret, because if he doesn't, she'll actually get pulled out of school by her family, and she won't be able to go to human school anymore. And he has a crush on her, so he's trying to do everything in his power to avoid that. And then he keeps coming across other secrets from other people that are just as outrageous, and trying to, keep on top of things. Let's see. We have Dust Maiden of Amnesia, which is a weird love-based horror show where the main character can see the ghost of this girl who is, I think she died like 50 years ago, that she's haunting the school. But she can't remember how she died. So he joins the Paranormal Investigation Club to solve the 7 mysteries of their school in order to find clues to her past, and why she's the ghost that's haunting the school. They actually end up discovering that. So there is a conclusion there. It's unfortunately the romance they build into the show that doesn't have a conclusion because she's literally dead. We have Blood Blockade Battlefront, which is, again, another one I've seen. This one is basically the main character is... This is a weird show to describe, but it's a good show.
I feel like that's many animes.
It is, but this one's really, really strange.
Okay, so when it's weird to explain for an anime, I'm kind of like, it's probably terrible, right?
It's not.
Yeah, always.
So, all right, I'll read you the synopsis. So, a breach between worlds has opened up between Earth and the Netherworld. Has opened up over top of New York City, trapping New Yorkers and creatures from other dimensions in an impenetrable bubble.
Nice.
Around New York. The main character that you follow around is this young kid who's kind of scared of stuff because there's a lot of monsters and weird shit that goes on in the city. He's had his eyes replaced by one of these entities with magical eyes that end up causing him trouble. And he gets involved.
So he's like Eris Morn?
Nice.
Well, he's only got 2 eyes still. And
could have had 3, but he gave up too early.
Well, he didn't really have a...
Because she lost all her eyes.
Yeah,
well, how did
she lost
3?
her...
Because she stole them from an acolyte.
I know.
You
I know.
read the lore.
Yeah, Eris stole her eyes from an acolyte and planted them in her head.
That's why they have 3, because acolytes have 3 eyes. I'm just being a jerk, all right?
This kid literally had his eyes scooped out by an otherworldly entity and something else shoved into his head.
Oh, that's fun.
So it's not like he was given a choice. The thing was like, I'm doing this to you. He's like, please don't. It's like, scoop, here you go.
Please, no, not my eyes. I need those.
I don't think Eris chose to get her eyes removed, but hey, life happens.
Well, she also then had to hunt her own eyeball replacements too, though. So like, she's way stronger than this one. I bet you this kid's whiny as fuck about it too. How? She didn't have eyes.
Yeah, so
she just listened very carefully.
But that show is very good. It's just very strange. It's hard to describe because there's a lot of very odd characters in the show, and it spoils a bit of it if you start explaining the characters and more of the setup.
Okay, I vote for this show because it spawned the most fun Eris Morn conversation.
What? How Eris had to listen very carefully?
Right. Yeah, yeah. To the YouTube video. Yeah. What was this one called? Because we should watch it.
Blood Blockade Battlefront.
Blood Blockade Battlefront.
Yeah, that is the English name.
Good old Triple B.
It also looks like it is on Crunchyroll.
That's.
I love alliteration.
Nice. Yes, I know how much you love the fact things are on Crunchyroll.
B.
Man, things being on Crunchyroll makes my life so much easier.
Yeah, me too. Because now I can go watch it on the couch and take a nap, and then, pretend that I watched it. So, Okay, and this is like a horror themed. Okay.
It's horror themed because there are Lovecraftian monsters and things like that roaming around the city. So it has
okay.
that type of elements and things to it.
Okay, so
But
we could do this show, and then next week we can do like an actual like spooky, scary horror one.
Next week we can do an actual show.
Yeah. Wait.
So not Fairy Gone.
Yeah, we'll save Fairy Gone for November.
Or we can save it for never.
But I want to do I want to cover it. I want to
to
do the first 3 of the new season to do have like a touchback.
It's gonna be so bad.
Oh,
Just the forewarning
probably.
for
You're
everything.
probably right.
Always,
And that's
always.
whatever.
I cannot see that show ever getting better.
Hey, you know what? That's what they said about Firefly,
It's
and then it got
worse
canceled.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
No, Firefly was a good show the whole time.
Firefly
Firefly
the whole time.
was just shown out of order by Fox and moved around because they were trying to cancel the show on purpose because they wanted to move him onto Dollhouse, which is a fucking stupid show, because that's the show they wanted him to direct for them rather than doing his own thing. But the deal they made with him is the fact he got to make his own show first and see how that went. It's also why he doesn't work with Fox anymore on anything. Because
Very
they
easy to
Yeah.
just look at a company and be like, wow, you guys screwed me over.
Yep.
So what
and
show
now
are we
he-
watching next week?
Blood Blockade Battlefront, or good old Triple B. That's what it's Triple B now. From now on, we've
Is
dubbed
that
it
where
that.
you get boat insurance?
What?
No, that's State Farm.
Yeah, no, like you got AAA for automobiles, you got Triple B
Fuck!
for boats.
Maybe.
It's not even my joke.
Oh.
Uh,
Well.
that's the
Now
best
you've,
part.
now you've disappointed Dale.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. I can disappoint Dale in many other ways.
Just like myself.
So, hey guys, did anything come out this last 2 weeks that any of us have any stakes in?
I have a new jacket coming. Is that something that you're
New
referring?
jacket? Oh, I got a new jacket too, and I'm gonna be getting some boots on Tuesday as well.
Oh, I didn't like the look of the boots.
I
Did you see
I
the black
didn't
ones
get.
though?
I didn't. Get
I
the
did.
jacket.
I still don't like them.
I like the black ones. I didn't like the white ones.
Yeah, like
Shadowkeep for Destiny 2 came out. Destiny's also
Is
free to play
so
now.
good.
Cool.
Shadowkeep
it's
is
free to play
fantastic.
across all platforms for anybody who's thinking about
Yes.
it. It's not just PC. It's on Xbox and PlayStation as well. Free to play.
And cross save exists. So if you want to play
Yes.
it on Xbox and all your friends are on PC, you can use the same account.
Yay.
Super cool.
Yay.
They released a new story. They brought in some. It's been a week. Can I talk about spoilers?
Yeah, it was like a 3-hour
let's-
campaign. Yes, spoilers are.
Okay, let's give a spoiler warning. So if you haven't finished the campaign
If
yet
you-
and you wanna avoid spoilers here, we'll give you this time.
If you're a Destiny 2
Come
fan,
back
and you
in.
didn't spend 3 hours to beat the Shadowkeep campaign, and it's 2 weeks later, and you still haven't beaten it, and you're mad about spoilers,
Somebody
Tough
in my
shit.
chat said Bife is spoiling it. That is false. Bife literally did not update the pictures to his videos, even though he's talking about it, because he doesn't want to spoil people.
Yes, Bife actually.
It's like
'Cause I
a
watched-
minute and a half at the beginning explaining that that
I watched
the
him today.
thumbnail will not be there until like
basically
a
said-
week later.
Yeah, he's not updating the thumbnails to after Saturday, and he's not he's giving a spoiler warning because just in case there are those few people out there
Yep.
who haven't done it yet and want to do it, mainly because maybe they're free to play people who just picked up,
yeah, that's true. That
Destiny
could
when it
be
was
the
free to
case.
play and has played the last 2 weeks, loved it, and want to get into the new stuff. Here's your warning. There's going to be a little bit of spoiler talk here.
All
We'll
right.
see you later.
But at the
back
same
in.
time, 3 hours in Shadowkeep, and you'll.
Yeah, but if
Well,
they
now that
literally
we've
just
had that
if they
conversation,
literally just
cool.
bought it though, that's
So how do you
possible.
guys like pyramids?
I
there
don't
are some
know. They're spooky.
Very interesting things that popped up in this story. So we've got the pyramids are back that we see at the end of
The Destiny
this-
2 campaign.
Mhm.
We saw
They're
them
on the
look up.
moon. It is the
Turns out-
darkness.
It's been
Turns
on
out
the,
they're
moon
on the moon.
since like the collapse. There's been one.
Yes. There's been one there. Turns out it looks like there is another darkness installation in the Black Garden itself.
Mhm.
and you can actually.
Did you do you see that because of the raid? Now I haven't finished the raid. I've
Yes.
done most
So
of it.
if you finish the raid when you kill the boss, a pyramid spawns. You go down into a zone below the boss fight.
Yeah.
And one of the darkness statues, and we know it's a darkness statue because of art that Destiny has released. That
a
is
darkness
concept
statue.
Art. Yes. So Destiny released some. Yes, Destiny released some concept art, literally
before the game came out.
Yeah.
Like
before the game. This is old concept art, like D1 concept stuff.
This is Race 5 concept art, which is what it's literally called, is Race 5.
Yeah, and one of the things was a statue of the darkness, like a representation of it. And that exact thing has now been placed in the game, and this is one of the few places you can see is at the end of the raid.
Very
There's
nice.
a statue there. It's what was sending signals to the artifact we recovered from the pyramid.
Yes.
On the moon.
So
another interesting point is it's also really cool visually is all of the vegetation that's in this area that you drop down into, because the raid is full of trees and shit like that.
It's a garden, so
yeah, it forms a sphere kind of around the statue, but it won't encroach past that point. It's a really cool visual effect.
Cool.
They have made, so it's the statues are emitting something that is repulsing life itself from growing into it.
Or maybe it's just life from light, which is plants need light to grow. So that is also possible.
Yeah, sure. So there's that. We have the darkness.
Do a lot of visual storytelling. There was with Shadowkeep. There was the new raid, Vault of Grass.
Yes.
The raid is very fun.
I'm at the boss fight. I have beaten it. I would like to.
The boss fight is quite difficult.
The boss fight
I was in. We were in the boss fight for like an hour and a half, and everybody left, and it's like it's fine.
See, the thing is, I'm pretty sure that they were like, they had like a conference room, and they were building it, and then like they were like, wow, guys, this is a really good boss fight. It's really complicated. I think we've done a really good job. And then this dude in the back room was like, all right, now hear me out. What if we made the platforms disappear? Right?
Probably.
That because that like
they're like, okay, well, what does that do? And the floor is lava.
Floor is lava being a vex. That's fine.
Yes, like the floor is lava, but the things they stand on go away.
In my opinion, I do love that they that's an entire aspect of it. I'm glad they brought tethering into it. The raid still would have been a complete and difficult encounter without that.
Yes.
Which is why I make that joke. So.
And you get to play Gambit in the raid, which is cool.
You do get to play Gambit in the raid, and people are still dropping motes everywhere.
Or don't pick them up. That was that thing we had issues.
Oh my gosh. Or they steal motes from you when you're trying to get like a perfect stack. That is the worst.
No, the issue I encountered was the fact that people weren't picking up motes and they were disappearing. They're like, they disappear? I'm like, oh my god.
Yes. No. See,
have you not played Gambit? I don't understand.
My issue is that people would constantly be like, all right, guys, I'm not going to pick up any motes. And then like 5 minutes later, it's like, hey, why do I only have 9 motes? And it's like, I don't know. Definitely wasn't my fault. Hey, how many motes do you have? 1. Why?
Yeah.
The motes only drop in 5s, and it's very obvious when someone steals them because it screws up the entire beat of the encounter.
Yeah, it's another raid where communication is key, teamwork is key, and
if you fail, your entire team suffers for it.
Yeah.
So
but it's a 6-man activity that is not match made, so it makes sense to build like that. It's built well. The tethering can be a little finicky if people are using ricochet rounds.
Tethering can be finicky regardless. Let's be real.
We had someone using ricochet rounds in the final fight, and we were wondering why the tethers would randomly turn on. It's because they were using an auto rifle with ricochet rounds, and bullets were literally bouncing and hitting things and turning them on.
That's kind of hilarious.
I was using Recluse the entire time. The amount of times we accidentally started the fight while explaining it and shooting at things was...
I remember that.
It's like, it's over here. It ricocheted.
was a lot. It was definitely a lot.
But yeah, I would love to finish the raid at some point soon.
Yeah, well, you got until Tuesday for that jacket.
I'm not buying the jacket anyway. So
Weak.
never mind. I'm not gonna go into that.
It's not weak.
I'm kidding. I'm broke.
Okay.
Like, I have no room to talk. Are you
All right.
kidding me?
It's okay.
Uh,
I made fun of Pangu when I did it with him.
You also
He's like,
made
I
fun
can't
of
get
my
the jacket. I don't
Halloween
have money.
tree. It's clearly a
Christmas tree?
Halloween tree. It's got
Christmas
a
tree.
spider on it. Comfy.
That's
I
100.
remember the Halloween tree. Oh my gosh.
Look,
It's a Halloween
that
tree.
Last year. I remember we
is-
talked about this.
that is
Yes.
100% a
There's
Christmas
a spider on it.
from Nightmare Before Christmas. Christmas
It's-
tree.
He wins. Copper wins. You lose.
fuckers. But the
It's
Christmas
Christmas
tree has
someone
skeletons
needs to
and
vote now.
pumpkins and eyeballs on it, and there's a giant spider instead of the angel on top. All right.
Have you seen Nightmare Before Christmas? Copper's 100% right. I was like even half on your side before this.
Look,
All right.
I'm sorry.
Anywho,
Lamp.
look,
Anywhoozles.
Look.
Fortnite ended today. That was a thing.
oh,
oh,
that, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a meme.
explain, please. I don't know what's going on.
Dale's been online all day. He hasn't been able to see anything.
So Fortnite had a big event today, literally an hour ago.
Titled the End or something like that.
They're the big thing they're advertising is this is the end. The game is currently literally just a black hole. That's it. I'm not kidding. It is just a black hole. There's
So
nothing there.
they like shut it down.
Not
You can load
permanently.
into a
it's-
game, but there's a black
you-
hole.
Yeah, you get sent to the black hole. It's literally just a way of them doing a thing where they upload stuff, basically. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna make a new world, and that's gonna be the new way to do things.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's the one thing that Fortnite has always done really well is they've always done like events and
their
shit.
little
Remember,
events, yeah.
I don't even know who is Marshmallow
I-
an actual thing, like
I
a real person.
100% disagree with you on that front entirely. Fortnite is great at conceptualizing events. They have never run one properly.
Yeah, but they make the whole like it's the whole like it's technically usually impressive, like how they do everything.
It's
At
not though
once.
because it'd be impressive if they did that and it ran properly. But every time they do it, it crashes the entire game, doesn't work for half the people, and they have to issue an apology 3 days later. There was the issue of the unvaulting event where they were unvaulting stuff, and half the people were unable to vote on what got unvaulted because the game didn't work for them. Like it. They do such a good job of coming up with ideas for these events that are super cool and unique, but they have not gotten one right yet, except maybe this one. I don't think anything crashed because they just deleted everything off the server.
I remember hearing about the like that Marshmallow guy, like the big concert was pretty cool when that.
And it also crashed half the games, and they had to do an encore of it because there was such an issue. Like I'm not anti Fortnite, but like they do not have a good history of running these events. Is really not a good history. That's like the worst part is because they do some super cool ideas. Like the marshmallow thing was super cool, but just like it was a time. It's definitely a time. Yeah, Fortnite's dead. Never forget. Live the good life.
I'm sure it'll be back in like 2 days,
Oh,
if that.
It'll be back.
I
If
think
it's
this is
not.
they're just resetting the world, right? Like adding a different map to it. You think?
Yeah, it's probably going to be a brand new like map from the get go and everything like that, and people are
That's
going to know
what
where
we're
things
hoping for.
are.
Like, I mean, I'd enjoy a new map for Fortnite. The old one has been a long time. The interesting thing is the Twitter. Yeah, the Twitter has like no profile pics or anything. It's just a video of a black hole. There's nothing on the Twitter. They deleted everything.
Huh.
It's just
Ah.
I can pull it up on stream really quick.
Interesting.
They also made sure that the black hole thing affects the menus as well. Like it pulled everybody out of out of anything where they were.
They removed all moderation from the official Discord. This is the live stream that they have right now.
Oh, that's interesting. Cool.
Like it's a
Yeah,
time.
that's
it's
very interesting. Yeah. So, what are you guys gonna be up to this week? I assume lots of Iron Banner,
Yes, Iron Banner is starting, which is
a
It is.
D2 event where it's
Interesting.
all about PvP for a week, and I'm
Yes,
interesting.
it's
When I
a
say interesting.
PvP event, which is being run differently this time from previous Iron Banners.
Oh, how so?
um,
I haven't read.
So if you want to earn anything, and all the rewards are going to be pinnacle drops, so they are definitely worth it, you have to finish the quest from him first.
Oh,
So there are quest lines to finish first. Otherwise, you
Okay.
can't buy or get anything from him for doing Iron Banner. The only thing you'll get is from drops from in-game matches, which are limited to weapons only, I believe. So you can't get the new armor.
okay. I wonder what kind of weapons we'll get. I wonder if we'll get old weapons, completely new weapons.
I don't know.
I would hope all new, or at the very least, refreshed
new rolls.
old ones. Because
New
the entire
possible
year
roll or
one,
refresh old
like
ones
they
would
could
be
just
fine.
add random rolls to year one Iron Banner weapons, and I'd be like, fuck yeah. But you know what? The Iron Banner weapons from the Rise of Iron DLC was fucking so cool because they all looked so unique.
Yeah, they
In
bring stuff
D1,
forward.
which was
It
really
would be
cool.
great. You know,
Yeah.
even just refreshing rolls or something like that would be nice too.
Yeah.
New armor is going to be nice because the armor is actually not, based on samurais for the first time in God knows how long.
Yep. Might actually use
So
it. We'll see.
it might actually be usable now, which is going to be cool. And if it works as an ornament like the other Iron Banner armor currently does, and they don't end up fixing that because it's actually technically a bug, that'd be great as well.
Did my
Aside from that, I'm going to be working on my Undying title because there is a lot of crap for that to do. You need to get your pinnacle weapons. You need to do a crap ton
Does
of
my
that
frames
expensive stuff.
no. But
No,
yeah.
your frames are fine.
Okay. No, my stream froze for me, and I had the worst look on my face ever, and I was just like, "Oh no, it's gonna get screen capped and everything." But no. So yeah, I'm gonna be grinding a whole bunch of Iron Banner next week. Looking forward to
I think
it.
a lot of people will, and
It's gonna
I
be
think it's gonna
sweaty
be,
as fuck.
it's going to be super sweaty, and it is going to be scout rifle hell.
I remember Iron Banner used to not be sweaty. And maybe I'm just misremembering things. I don't remember. I don't know.
You're probably misremembering things. Iron Banner has pretty much always been sweaty, and because the fact that light level is enabled,
yeah, we're gonna bully some kids.
that's going to be a thing. So if those are people who are listening are new to Destiny, Destiny has this thing called light level or power. Now, as of the game update where the game went free to play as well, everybody starts at 750. Cool. Max power level for anybody who doesn't own Shadowkeep is 950. It is not 950 for those people who own Shadowkeep. For them, it is 960 with gear, and above that with the artifact. Light level enablement.
Oh shit! Yeah, I totally forgot. You don't get the artifact unless you have Shadowkeep, don't you?
I think you get it as 7 from the normal. You have to have the Season of the Undying to get it. So if you don't have that either, then yeah, you're capped at 9.
No. Because see, you always get the artifact. You always get that.
You do if you buy Shadowkeep, you get Season of the Undying. But if you're playing free to play
gets the basic level battle pass.
Yeah.
So you don't have to own anything. You can be free to play and you still get the artifact.
Yes, but their levels are still capped in a way that
Well, only in a
people
way
who
that
have-
they can't do the pinnacle activities, and they could still do
Right.
the Nightfall
they
and
can,
Iron Banner, so they can
but-
actually hit 960. They can't do
no,
the
they
raid.
can't. No,
Why
they
can't
can't
they?
hit 960. They're locked at 960. 960 is only for people who have that. In addition to that, you got to remember that
950. You're locked at 950 unless you do pinnacle activities. You can do the Nightfall, the high level Nightfall, or no, the 100k Nightfall, which is a pinnacle activity. Plus, if Iron Banner is a pinnacle activity, which we think it will be, you can also get above.
no, we know
950 with
Iron Banner
those.
is a pinnacle activity. They
So
told us
that therefore you can hit 960 as free to play.
but I'm pretty sure their gear is locked at 950 if they're free to play,
Why would that make sense? Why would they not get the pinnacle activities?
because it's a way to push people into buying things, Dale.
That doesn't make sense as from a consumer standpoint, though. That's just going to piss a lot of people off, and that's a bad move. And I hope they don't do that.
But for those people who are new and who haven't hit 950 or close to yet,
They won't even play. Let's just be real. They'll play it a little bit and go, "Oh fuck, that's gross," because they'll just be.
well, there's the
figured
thing.
out.
They're gonna play a little bit, and as a heads up for anybody who's gonna do so, light level enablement basically means that your power score matters in terms of how much damage you take and how much damage you're going to be doing.
Oh, we're talking about how artifacts are gonna fuck up Iron Banner.
Well,
And
yeah.
even people who are like, there are people who've grinded the shit out of things like the moon, and have like, plus 15 or something like that or higher on their artifacts now. So those people are going to shit on even people who are like 940. So if you're less than that, Iron Banner is going to be a nightmare.
Yep.
Not to mention the whole scout rifle thing is going to be a thing. Expect to hear a lot of Midas.
Oh yeah.
Mida time.
I feel like we're gonna end up with a fake scout rifle meta because people are going to be like, "Oh, everybody's using Mida," and just assume that that's the meta, and then use scouts.
Well, that's kind of how metas sort of evolve. People go, "This is the best weapon." They all kind of gravitate to it. In this case, it's going to be people pushing scout rifles because they want to get the throwing knife done. But the thing is, the more people who get the throwing knife done, the throwing knife is also super good.
It is
So they're
very
just gonna,
good in Crucible.
so they're just going to keep using the throwing knife, which means we're going to get a scout rifle meta.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I want Mida meta, but without being the Mida meta that it was.
Oh, the Mida meta was awful.
I had a really rough time with it yesterday. I will admit.
See, I really like being able to use Mida because it's one of my favorite guns. But I hate that in the Mida meta, you have to use the Mida.
Yeah, you have.
It's like I want the option. I don't want the requirement.
I was using the scout rifle from Vex Offensive yesterday when we were playing, and it was doing okay, but it doesn't fire. It hits harder than the Mida does, the one I have, but it doesn't fire as fast, so you're still probably going to lose an engagement, especially since the current thing where everybody's doing this quest, it's team shotting with Midas.
Yeah.
Which is the whole problem.
Yeah.
Because it's fighting somebody with a Mida with another scout rifle is a pain in the ass already.
Mhm.
Fighting multiple people shooting at you with a Mida at the same time is just
It's
god
a
awful.
nightmare. Yeah, it's a time and a half.
And it is not a fun time and a half. It didn't help that we got like the same map 3 times in a row.
Oof.
Yeah, we did. It was great. I loved it.
It was different game modes. Like it switched
Yeah,
the
it
game mode
was.
because we were in Classic Myth, but it was the same exact map. And I'm like, why is this a thing? Like,
Yeah.
Yup.
The world may never know.
Also, I hate that that reef map. It's just awful.
Oh, I don't like it.
It is not well designed.
It is definitely a map.
It's a map. It's not a good map. I don't know what it's supposed to be designed for.
The newest one, yeah, I don't.
I don't get there's no a lot of Destiny maps have sniper lanes and stuff like that, or
This has,
lanes for longer engagement. This one is just these weird circles that are stacked on top of each other that are all open air, It's very strangely designed. There's no real lanes. It's all curves. And
I
stuff
don't know
like
how the
that.
fuck it flows. I haven't
It doesn't-
figured it out.
Spent a lot
It
of
does
time
not-
trying to figure it out. It's
Yeah.
kinda
It
weird.
does not flow well at all. Like it's a very strange movement around the map. Like you kind of curve and then curve back and around, and it doesn't flow like any other map in Destiny or pretty much any other shooter I've played. It's very, very
It just feels
weird.
it feels you know what map you know what game it does flow like? It flows like the maps in Modern Warfare.
Uh huh.
Those are not good maps.
Hmm.
They were not designed well. I'm talking about the new Modern Warfare.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Where
mhm.
like it's just kind of like chaotic and there's not really much
It's
flow to
chaotic and you can't really tell. Like there doesn't feel like they made it as a map layout. It feels like they made it as like a world and then didn't really make any efforts to get a map layout for it.
it. Sure.
Yeah,
It's like it's just kind of weird. I don't really like it.
like visually, it looks great. Like it's
It
very
looks
much
nice,
the
but
that's
like
tangled
the-
shore reef.
That's
Like
the
it's
problem with the
but it
entirety
looks-
of that for me is like
it looks like they designed it for the visual and then said, okay, let's make lanes this way and this way, so we don't have to change how things look.
exactly, and it's the same exact thing with like Modern Warfare was like all of the maps are gorgeous, and the gunplay is great, but like the maps just play so poorly. It's not a good time.
And map design and flow is a basic UI thing, and it should come first.
Yeah,
Because you can make,
you
an
make
ugly
ugly
map.
maps that play amazingly.
and you can make ugly maps look good. Like
Yes,
it's just on
100%.
the artist. But if you design for the visual first and then trying to fit gameplay to fit that visual you've already decided on and are going, we're not changing the visual,
Yeah,
that's not a good idea. That's not how things should work.
I'm not pro that. It's not good. It's not smart. It's not fun. Like it's a time. I don't. It's not a good map. What's funny though is like everything else is just good.
We
Also,
played a
almost all of the
match-
maps in comp are Destiny 1 maps, not Destiny 2 maps.
Yeah.
Have you noticed?
Yeah, you're right. Like the best maps are Destiny 1 maps. Well, that's because like
Well-
most of the Destiny 2 maps that are the vanilla ones
designed around
were designed
4v4.
around 4v4. And then they were like, let's mush 6v6 onto these maps, which makes them flow like doo-doo. So
I like 6v6 more than I like 4v4. I think 6v6 even works better on the 4v maps than 4v4 does. I still don't think they should have designed them that way though.
no. I don't know. I haven't been enjoying the 6v6 since I was actually less frustrated in comp yesterday than when we started playing the control because like man,
Yesterday was
I don't know what they did to skill-based matchmaking this season, but it seems way different. And I know that we were having discussions about
something
it, and I
feels off. Like
I don't know
if
what
I
they
solo
did.
queue, it feels fine. Like if I'm solo queuing, it's okay. There's sometimes where I'm like, there's some people in this that shouldn't be in this. But for the most part, it's okay. But when I queued with like you and Red, and we had like a stack of 5 people, and we're kind of all over the board. It was very weird.
Yeah, that
Like-
happens.
Like very, very weird. I don't know how they're trying to balance that out
I
when
don't
they
know,
have
it
people
felt-
of different
it's-
skill levels together. And like I don't know if
Control
they're doing
has
it by
felt
average or what, but
incredibly
weird.
sweaty lately, and I'm just like, okay.
it has like yesterday was definitely the worst for it. But like we had a bunch of blowout matches yesterday too, which is weird. Like usually you get like 1 or 2, but we had no in a classic mix thing when we were running a 5 stack. We got a few.
Well, classic
Mercies.
is not skill-based matchmaking.
Yeah,
at all.
it's not. It's but there should probably be an element of that when you have
Yeah.
because if you stack a team like and roll through people like constantly like that, like
Maybe
because
if they
it
limited.
rematches
Sorry, go
like because the way it works, if you like if you mercy someone, like if you beat someone so badly so quickly by points, it'll stop the match and then queue with new people. It removes those people from your queue and queues with new people. We did that a couple of times, which means we've now pissed off 18 to 24 people instead of just 6. That's not a good design choice.
Yeah. The idea behind it is good, but like,
Yeah, I get the idea behind it, but in practice, if you're making more people mad by getting steamrolled than less people mad by getting steamrolled,
yeah.
And I get people don't, it's like, well, I want to jump in for an easy, not sweaty match. Well, if you're at the pinnacle of PvP, guess what?
You're
You
gonna be
shouldn't be
sweaty.
you shouldn't be playing people at the bottom end or in the mid range. You shouldn't. It's not fair to those people. It's like, well, how come I can't? It's like, because they don't deserve to be pub stomped just because you want to pub stomp somebody. Like
What's terrible. So I was doing some
in other games, like, well, think of it this way: in games like Overwatch, right, which is all PvP, people complain about people smurfing. So
Always.
high skill players playing on new accounts and that, so they can pub stomp people. Yet, if you bring up the same concerns for Destiny, high end players playing lower end players, people are like, "Well, I should be able to." Why? It's the same concept. Like, if you complain about Overwatch with pub stomps, you can't ignore it here.
This is a PvE one, by the way. This is not a PvP shotgun.
I don't know.
No, like, and that's like, so I was doing Lone Wolf running, and that's like, I love that they added that so much that there's a solo queue mode for competitive.
Yes,
so
that is a
when
very good thing to add in.
When I just want to sit around, try hard, and watch Netflix on the side, I can do that.
And you're not going to run into stacked teams, which is
exactly. And that's like, that's what I don't want. But like, the matchmaking for it is so broken. I was in a game and we were doing like okay, but we were really struggling. And one of the guys was like, "Hey, what's everybody here's glory levels right now? Like, I'm not trying to rage or anything. I'm just trying to figure out some matchmaking statistics." And I was like, "This is my 4th comp game. I'm 500." And he's like, "I'm 3,500."
Yeah, you should not be paired together.
The enemy team was legend. Like, they had somebody who was legend on their team. Like, that matchmaking is broken. I'm fine with skill-based matchmaking, but if it's going to be skill-based, it needs to actually be skill-based.
Yeah, like if you have a rating system, use the rating system.
Using like hidden numbers, because like Bungie keeps going, "Oh, it's skill-based, but we're using MMR numbers that that aren't available to the public." It's like, make them available, or use the glory ones.
Yeah, use the ranking system you have in game that everybody sees.
Yes, like and that's what every other competitive game that I've played does. That's what Overwatch does. That's what League of Legends does. What Dota does. It's what Halo does.
Yeah. I would also like to petition to not have the rating system be whatever through Legend, because I don't know what most of them mean. Can we just have copper, silver, gold, and whatever, so it makes fucking sense to me, please? And it's not hard to explain.
They even rank.
I'm going to be honest. That one sounds like a you problem.
They even rank like the different.
There's other people that agree with
levels.
This.
Like
it's numbers though. That's the thing.
Like each level aside from Legend has 3 ranks to it. So if you're going to do skill-based matchmaking, use that system and then go, okay, everybody within these 3 fights everybody else in these 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you have people at the top of that 3 fight at the bottom of 3. So there's still some variation. You can still have, matches that are a bit easier than other, not as sweaty if you're at the top of the rank of that, rather than the bottom. Like, that's still doable, but
yeah. And it's terrible.
Legend,
too, like they have this system that you can look at it and be like, that's exactly how it should work, and they're just not doing it.
No, and Legends should only ever fight Legends. Period. You don't have Grandmasters and other games fighting like fucking Platinums. Like, that's not a thing they do.
No, it's really not.
No.
And the best thing is despite all of this stuff, Shadowkeep is still worth it.
Yeah, like that's just an overall thing. Like, but yeah, it's every little change they've made. Like adding in the solo queue for PvP.
Yeah, I grinded that to like 2,300 in like 3 hours the other day. I was like, okay, nice.
Yeah. Changing the structure of PvP itself. They're bringing back elimination. All great changes.
Thank God.
Bringing back old maps from D1. Also great. The new strikes they put in are fun. And interesting.
Yes, they're both really good. We got Hadalashun. Hadashaloon.
We've got
Hashaloon.
we've got nightmare hunts where you get to relive things like fighting Gaul, fighting Fogoth, things like that. You've got a
Man,
new
I don't
dungeon
think
coming.
The Fanatic deserves a nightmare hunt. Let's be real.
Who? The Fanatic?
The Fanatic.
He doesn't deserve one. Everybody else is like, Gaul stole the light. Crota like slaughtered hundreds of guardians. Skolas killed.
Wasn't it thousands?
Thousands. Yes, you're actually right. You're correct.
Yeah.
I'm just. I'm making a point.
They basically chose someone from each expansion. They
but
chose the Fanatic.
The thing is, it's like he didn't do anything. He kind of just talked about how cool Uldren was the entire time.
I know.
Should have given us a Riven one. We could have made it work.
They could have chose like the butthole instead. That would have been.
Ooh, Nightmare of the Butthole. They didn't.
But
oh man, I too had Chipotle last night.
I think they were also. They might have been thinking of those types of jokes and went, let's not do that.
I mean,
I find it questionable that they still called them finishers. Like, we're not going to make jokes about finishing every time we kill somebody with one, please.
1 second, I'm about to finish.
The addition of finishers are great.
I didn't think I was going to like those. I love them. They're great.
The changes to the armor system where you've got 6 stats and how the mods work now are amazing.
I still got to figure out like
actual
what
customization of builds, which is cool. And a change they didn't remark on beforehand, the addition of additional bounties that you can buy for Glimmer from pretty much every vendor.
No, didn't they mention that?
Are so insane. No. They didn't. That was people are like, that was a surprise, and it's like, this is such a good change, and it's one of the better changes they made.
No, yeah.
Nobody expected it. They're like, oh yeah, here's your daily bounties, and oh yeah, here's this other bounty. You can buy as many of them as you can carry for extra glimmers, so you can do things faster if you want to, or earn more experience to fill out your season pass, or level up your artifact. It's crazy good.
The only complaint I have is that the gunsmith doesn't have more.
Yes, the gunsmith doesn't have them, and the spider doesn't have them
because you have to.
The reason being is that the spider has a butt ton, and that the gunsmith's bounties all give you enhancement accords, and they need to be able to rein in that economy.
Well, Spider has a ton because he's got the hunt ones plus his destination ones. His destination ones should have an additional, so should every planet, just like the moon does.
He has twice as many destination ones as every other destination.
Yes, but he's only got like 5.
7. 6.
I think it's
8.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6. But if they gave them
random numbers,
if they went to everybody with their destination and go, okay, everybody gets 5, and nice Monte Carlo, and everybody gets an additional bounty thing, like that would be great.
That was good RNG.
I was super happy the other day.
Okay, that took me a minute because my stream is apparently watching Comfy's a little bit delayed. I was like, wait, what Monte Carlo?
I turned it in and I got a Monte Carlo, which is the only exotic I didn't have.
Nice.
So that's super cool.
I think the only thing... Well, actually, you know what? I've been getting some new ones because I've been playing as my Warlock a lot, which is new. I'm usually a Hunter main. You're a Hunter main, aren't you, Comfy?
No, I don't play on Hunter ever.
He says as he's playing Hunter.
I was super happy the other day when I finished the raid, got Divinity, went and saw Zur, and picked up his engram there and got Wave Splitter, and I'm missing a bunch of exotics.
Nice.
So I was super happy with that.
That's super cool.
Dope. All right. So we've been enjoying the hell out of new Destiny content. Next week we're going to be watching Blood Battle.
Triple B.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got, there's 3 Bs.
We're going to be watching Blood Blockade Battlefront.
Blood Blockade Battlefront. Oh my god.
The name is weird, but it makes a little more sense if you see the show.
It's the sequel to Star Wars Battlefront, actually.
Sure.
Great.
All right.
Stars Jar Jar Binks. Everybody's gonna love it.
Oh, nice.
George Bonk.
Spookamus, I was literally about to do that. Oh, you did that a half hour ago. Okay. All right. Look at that.
What?
Type in the thing in Discord for us. Good job.
Oh yeah.
I did it when we decided on it. All right.
Because Comfy's like, I'm not going to remember this. I'm putting it
Yep.
down.
I was
fair,
not going to remember it.
It is a very weird name.
Yeah, of course. So
I have so much more gambling to do.
Hey, where can we find you? Robert.
You can find me at Copperline Art and Copperline Designs on Twitter and Instagram, or at copperlinedesigns.com. If you're looking for stuff. Dale.
You can find me on Mixer at mixer.com/Mr. Vengeance, and on Twitter and the Instagrams at _Mr. Vengeance. And then we have the blue-haired devil himself, Mr. Comfy.
Hi guys, my name is Comfimus. You can find me at mixer.com/Comfimus. You can find me at Twitter at Comfimus. You can find me on Instagram at Comfimus, and that's you can find me in a lot of places really easily because I'm using Comfimus a lot.
Yeah,
And this
it sounds.
has been 2.5 Weebs episode 34.
Yeah, I think. Pretty sure. I did confirm.
We're not great with numbers. Woo!
I think I confirmed, but it's 34 question mark. All right, guys. Next week, Blood Blockade Battleground. Oh my God, fucking anime.
Did you just see the thing from Rogue?
All right, everybody.
No. Well, hey guys, by the way, I'm on the front page right now, so that's cool.
Okay. All right, guys. Tune in next week for Blood Blockade Battlefront. It's gonna be a fun time. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
See ya.